Hello, and thank you for joining me for another Morpheme Matrices unit. This is lesson 1 with a new base word. The base word this week is rupt. As we've done before, we're going to be learning about words that we can make from our word rupt. Rupt, of course, means to break or burst. Rupt is a bound root, unlike our previous two, which means it can't stand on its own as a word. So rupt by itself is not a word. Root words can have affixes added to them to create new word. And of course, affixes are prefixes or suffixes. So again, our skill of the week is rupt, our word, which means to break or burst. For lesson 1, how do we build words from roots? By adding prefixes and or suffixes, affixes to a word, you slightly change the meaning to a more precise definition. Today, we're going to practice adding some prefixes to our root. The prefixes we're going to add today are going to be dis, inter, and e. Dis means not or apart. Inter means between, and the e means out. You're probably already thinking of some words. So let's give it a try. So again, we have the word rupt, or the root rupt. We're going to add dis, which means not or apart, to rupt, which means to break or burst. Can you figure out what the word is? Disrupt, that's correct. Now, can you figure out what that word means based on our prefix and our root word? Morphologically, the word disrupt is a verb that means to break apart. We have break or apart. Disrupt means to break apart, to cause disorder, typically referring to interrupting or disturbing a process, event, or system. In a sentence, you might say, the loud thunderstorm began to disrupt the class as everyone turned to look out the window. So that's for the word disrupt. Next, let's try it again. We have our root word rupt, which means to break or burst. We're going to add it to the prefix inter, which means between. So we have between and to break or burst. Can you figure out the new word? Interrupt is correct. Based on these definitions, what do you think interrupt really means? You're probably already thinking of something. Morphologically, the word interrupt is a verb that means to break between. Interrupt means to stop or break the flow of something, typically referring to pausing or disturbing a conversation, activity, or process. If you interrupt somebody, you're breaking between what they're doing, or you're breaking up what they're doing. In a sentence, please don't interrupt me while I'm explaining the rules to the game. Let's try it again. We have our root word rupt, which means to break or burst. We're going to add it to the prefix e, which means out. You know what the new word's going to be? Erupt. I wonder what erupt means. Can you figure it out? Morphologically, the word erupt is a verb that means to break out. Erupt means to burst out suddenly, typically referring to something like a volcano spewing lava or an unexpected outburst of emotion or activity. In a sentence, we might say, the volcano began to erupt, sending hot lava and ash into the sky. It erupted, which means it broke out or it burst out. Now, let's practice reading some words with our root word rupt. Don't say the word. This is our silent blending. Don't say it until you see the red portion. Are you ready? Let's get started. Bankrupt. Corrupt. Erupt. Disrupt. Interrupt. Abrupt. Erupt. again. Oh, erupting. Disruption. Interrupted. Hopefully those were no problem to read. I wonder if you can kind of figure out what those words mean based on what you see. Maybe you want to pause it for a minute and figure those out. Until next time, happy reading.